Okay, guys, welcome to this team call. My name is Brigitte Limford, and I'm the founder of this team, Forward Fitness, and I'm just here excited to share with you guys a couple tips and things that I have been thinking about as I've been identifying what can I do right now to make the most of 2016. As many of you guys know, I did not start off the year with a bang. I'll be honest. We had a little accident with my daughter, and I appreciate everyone's patience with me because I feel like I'm just barely getting started here in 2016. But I'm excited, and I think that there are specific things that you can do as you're moving forward in this year that are going to help you grow quickly and to move forward. So I have looked at this, and I'm kind of treating this as if you're a new coach or you're a leader and you're trying to help your team identify what characteristics they need to work on. But even more than that, I feel even for myself that when you've been doing this for a while, I'm coming in this year on my 4th year as a Beachbody coach, and I am constantly being reminded that I just have to stick to the basics. Go back to basics. I don't need to overcomplicate this. This business is really simple. And so even for myself, these are things that I'm like, this is what I'm working on myself as well. So first thing that I'm going to tell you guys is that you need to know what you want from this year. And this may seem obvious, this may seem like, well, duh. But the reality is that if you don't identify what you want, you will never achieve what you are seeking out. You will never move forward if you're not being specific about what that looks like in your life. And so this year, first thing starting off, I want you guys to be setting SMART goals. Now, if you've never heard this acronym before, it means that you are specific with your goals. Your goals are measurable, they are attainable, they are realistic, and there is a deadline. They are time specific. Now, the whole idea of this is that you need to visualize, like, this is where I want to be at the end of the year. This is where I want to be in 12 weeks. This is where I want to be in a month. This is what success looks like for me. But on top of that, you need to be able to say, like, I will know I have achieved this when this happens. And I kind of use that as an example because people will tell me, like, okay, I really want to be successful this year, or I want to be happier. And I'm like, okay, well, how are you going to know that you're happier? Like, when will that happen? Or what will happen in your life that you'll be able to say, check mark, this is off the list. I know that I am now happier. You can't just say, I want to be healthier, I want to be happier, I want to be more successful, I want to have more money. Those are not SMART goals because it's not something that you can mark off of a checklist, because you don't know when that is happening. So be very, very specific as you are setting out your goals. And one thing with this, I'll share with you guys if you're interested. I should have put it on this slideshow. But the goals that I have set, like my dream board when I first signed up as a Beachbody coach, I can share that with you guys if you're interested. But it shows you, like, I was very specific, and I even looked at things as, okay, in 3 months, this is where I want to be. 3 months after that, this is where I want to be, and so forth. And it was a very attainable goal. It wasn't like, okay, I want to be a millionaire this year, for starting out as a Beachbody coach. It was very measurable. It was very time specific. I had a deadline, okay? Now, one little thing I also want to throw out here with this is that I would tell you to set your deadline as March. Like, we're starting off here in January. I'm pretending that it's January 1st as I'm getting started and just acting as if this is the beginning of the new year. You have 3 months from right now to achieve everything that you want to do. That's how I look at this. I read this amazing, amazing book. If anyone wants to read it, and I think I have it on my bookshelf here, but I don't know exactly where it is, or I'd show you the cover. But it's called The 12-Week Year. And, sorry, I'm trying to think I should show you just because I can't remember the author. But I'll look at the author and post it in the team page if anyone's interested. But it's called the 12-week year. And the whole concept of this book is showing you that, like, statistically, over and over again, that people achieve their goals in the last 20% of the time allotted. And so, if you give yourself, like, all day long to fold a load of laundry, it's going to take you all day long to fold that load of laundry, right? But if you say, okay, I have to get this laundry done in 10 minutes, you're going to get it done in 10 minutes. If you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to be diamond by the end of the year, you're going to take the entire year to go diamond. If you're saying, I have to get diamond by March, you're going to get diamond by March, like you just are. Because if you gave yourself the entire year, you would get everything done to achieve diamond in the last 3 months anyway. So why not screw everything up as you're approaching this year and say, I don't even care where I'm going to be December. My deadline is March. Like, where am I going to be the deadline of March? What is my focus for these next 6 weeks and what I want to attain and what I want to achieve? And focus on that in just these 12 weeks, and that's it. And then in 12 weeks, it's January 1st all over again in your mind. You're setting a New Year's resolution and saying, okay, the next 3 months, what do I want to accomplish? Where do I want to be? What do I want to do? And setting that deadline again, okay? So just shortening everything up. This book, he shares so many examples of people who have done this and how much more successful they were, how much more they accomplished throughout that, like, entire span of their year when they put an entire year's worth of goals into 12 weeks. So you're going to get everything done in the last 3 months of the year anyway. Get it done by March, all right? So as far as deadline, that's what I'm going to tell you guys to do, okay? So this sounds obvious. It seems like, okay, yes, obviously, but I want to ask you guys, and if we were on a Zoom chat, I would have everybody, like, raise their hand and show me by a raise of hands how many of you guys have written down your goals. Like, how many of you guys have it written down? My son, and I love it. Yes, thank you. Comment below and let me know. My son came to me this morning while I was doing a workout, and he's like, okay, Mom, I want to have $100 saved by my birthday. Dad told me it was 74 days away to my birthday, so that means I need to earn $1.35 every single day before my birthday if I want to have $100 by my birthday. And I was just, like, thinking of this, and I'm like, I'm so proud of him that he understands that, okay, this is my goal. For me to reach this goal, that means on a daily basis, this is the activity that I need to be making. And that was so great. The next step, I kind of asked him, I'm like, okay, Mac, have you written down your goal? Like, have you written it down? And why do you want $100? Like, what will that mean for you? Like, why does that matter to you? And so, Matt kind of shared with me, he's like, well, in his mind, he thinks if he saves $100 that he can pay half for an iPod Touch, which he's not going to get. So we're going to have to figure it out because I don't want him to have one. But he figures that if he saves half, then his parents will give him the other half and he can get that for his birthday. And my point in sharing all of that is, I'm like, that's exactly what I want my team to be doing, is to be identifying, this is what I want, and so that means I need to do this behavior and this behavior every single day. But then also, why does it mean so much to me? So I get people who will say, I want to be diamond. I'm just using that because we're in that business with ranks, right? So everyone knows about the different ranks. And people are like, well, I want to be diamond by the state. And I'm like, okay, why? Why? Like, what does that mean to you? Why does it matter? What's significant about diamond? And then we find out that, okay, well, if I'm diamond, then that means I could possibly quit my job and I could be home with my kids. Or it means that my husband's going to stop harassing me about this business and he's going to feel like I'm doing something productive with my time. Like, whatever it is that the reason is, I want you to identify that because that's your goal. That's the specific goal, and diamond is a stepping stone to get there. And there's a difference, because otherwise, like, in your mind, you're visualizing, I'm going to be diamond, I'm going to be diamond, and that's really lackluster. Like, that doesn't feel exciting. It doesn't invoke emotion. But the idea of saying, I really want to be there to drop off my kids at the bus stop. Like, I want to be there if my kids are sick and they need to stay home. I want to be there with them instead of being like, I'm sorry you have to go to school, or you still have to go to daycare because mommy has to work. Like, there needs to be the goals associated that invoke emotion in you, that like make you feel like crying because you're like so excited about it and it lights you up. Okay? So think about that. The other thing that I just want to specify on this is that it's really important to find the source that motivates you and not the goals that you think someone else wants you to have. So I just want to share a little experience I had with this with one of my coaches, Keisha. So beginning of the year, we had this call. Well, it was actually just after Christmas, or before Christmas. Anyway, talking about 2016 and her goals and the projection of like where she wanted to be in her business. And she's telling me, well, I think I want to be 15 star and I want to this and that. But I could tell, like, hearing her speak, I'm like, okay, why? Like, why do you want to be 15 star? And she's telling me, and I'm like, I could just tell that this was not motivating her, that wasn't exciting for her. It wasn't like she was super ecstatic thinking about, I'm going to be a 15 star diamond coach. Like, that wasn't exciting for her. And I'm like, okay, well, you're drawing your motivation from something that doesn't actually motivate you. You know, what motivates you? What drives you forward? And for Keisha, it's like the relationships and the people, and then like she loves just being around people and investing in people and strengthening relationships. And I'm like, okay, let that drive you. Like, let that be your motivation and fuel your passion. Because here's the thing in this business, if you're passionate and you're excited about things, people are drawn to you, you know? So you're going to grow this business if you're passionate and you're excited. And so set the goals that fuel your passion. Does that make sense? You know, so for myself, I know I want to rock this business. I know I want to grow in huge amounts this way in my Beachbody business. But I also know that I'm not really motivated to make more money than I am right now. I'll just be honest. Like, I'm really happy with where we're at. I'm not thinking, okay, I need this rank or this rank to be excited. Like, those things don't fuel me, even though I know that there is room for growth. And so for me, it's like, okay, I want to feel good. So how am I going to feel good? Like, okay, I know if I stick to hammer and chisel and follow that every single day and submit a before and after photo, I'm going to feel really good. And I'm going to be so excited about my journey that through the overflow of my passion, my business is going to grow, right? Another thing that fuels me is creativity and like being able to, I don't know, create and challenge myself and learn new things. And so I've taken up flying lessons. I'm learning how to fly. I'm going to be a pilot. And that fuels me. And oddly enough, that is going to help my business because I'll be excited and I'm passionate about what I'm doing and the growth that I'm experiencing. And so that is going to grow my business. So my point in explaining all of this is that you get to identify what things fuel you, right? What things excite you and motivate you. And it can be totally different than somebody else. It's not going to be like a cookie cutter thing for every person. But identify that this is where I want to be, and these are the things that will get me there, okay? And write it down. All right, and I'm spending too much time on this slide, so that's all I'm going to say about that. I am reading this book, again, that I really like. It's called The Alchemist, and there was just a couple of quotes from there that I just wanted to share along the way throughout this webinar, but one of them being that people are capable at any time in their lives of doing what they dream of. And I just wanted you guys to know that. Like, I feel strongly that if you have a desire in your heart, you have a dream, you have a want, and you feel like this is what I know I'm capable of, it was placed there for a reason. Like, I'm going to talk about God, and I hope I don't make anyone uncomfortable, but God is not cruel. Like, you have the dreams that you have for a reason because that is your destiny. Like, that's what you're meant to do. So pay attention to the things that fire you up and that get you excited because that's what you're meant to do in this life. And so you are capable of those things that you are excited about. All right? Okay, tip number 2. I want you to identify what it is that is holding you back. All right? So you're thinking about your goals and what you want to accomplish this year. Well, if you're going to hit those goals, you have to identify what are my hangups? What are the things that are holding me back? And a really great way to do this is to think of what were my goals for 2015 and why didn't I accomplish those goals? Okay? So again, I had another call with a coach just kind of wrapping up the year, and I asked her this question. I'm like, okay, so what were your goals in 2015? Did you hit your goals or not? And she's like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, okay, well, why not? And she lists off these things, and they, were the reasons why this didn't happen. I'm like, okay, so now we can strategize on these are the roadblocks that I know I have personalized for me. So what strategies can I create around those? Because otherwise, you're just going to keep on setting goals over and over again, but you're not going to get any different result if you don't make a plan on what you can do differently, because there are activities that you are engaging in that are holding you back from reaching your greatest potential. And it's going to be different for everyone. So I want you to identify what those are. As I was doing this myself and exercising, because I'm not going to advise you guys to do anything that I'm not doing myself. As I was identifying for myself, what am I doing that is holding me back from reaching my greatest potential? One of the things that I can identify is I haven't been consistent in my workouts. And I also have not been consistent in sharing my journey with my workouts and with what I was doing in my health and fitness part of things online. Like, I wasn't being consistent in sharing that. I felt like I was sleeping in. I mean, I don't need to go off these laundry list of things that I was doing wrong, but it's just important for you to identify that you are where you're at in your business 100% because of the choices that you're making, okay? So even when you're identifying what's holding me back, you may want to say, oh, my husband's not supportive, or I just don't have, I'm not very organized, or I just don't know what to do, or I just get a lot of excuses. Well, I'm going to call them excuses that I get from people is that they blame their spouses a lot of time for not supporting them. That's like the number one thing. So I'm just going to kind of run with that for a minute. Here's the thing. Your reaction to that circumstance is bringing the result that you're getting in your life, not the experience. It's the meaning that you give it and your reaction to it that is defining the results that you're getting in your life. All right? And it should be an empowering thing, because you get to realize that it doesn't matter what anybody else does in around me. I have control of the results that I'm getting. And it's 100% up to me. So people may say, well, I didn't get to 5-star because my diamond did this, and my diamond did this, and this diamond did this, and so I dropped rank, and I didn't get it. And I'll be honest with you, if you're putting all of your eggs in one basket, or you're relying on 1 or 2 people to attain, there's something that you could have done differently. Your results are 100% your responsibility. Nobody else's. Even in this business, when you're having your team grow and they're doing things and whatever, recruit more. Put yourself out there more. Identify what you can do to work better with different people who are motivated by different things. Identify what you can do differently, because you have the power. You have the power within to create the dreams that you have, but it's 100% up to you and the choices that you're making on a day-to-day basis. Now, one thing that I get a lot from people is that they're afraid. And so I just want to touch base on that, because I feel that is a big thing that holds people back, is that they're fearful. And I love this quote, and it's such an amazing idea or concept or whatever that I didn't always, it took me a while to wrap my mind around it. But it's not the future that you're afraid of. It's repeating the past that makes you nervous. And I don't know if that resonates with anybody else, but it really resonated with me because I have a history of failure, and I have a history of being rejected. I have a history of people not accepting me, and being all alone, and all these different things. But one thing I just want to share with you guys that I've learned a lot through therapy and personal development and all the little hippie things that people may want to make fun of me for. But here's the thing, and this is the truth, that you can be at peace with everything that you have done in your past, with the choices that you have made in the past, because that's what got you through. You're here. You made it through. You are a success. You have a 100% survival rate, okay? Because you're on this webinar. You're here. You did it. You've survived. And so the things that you've done in the past are the things that got you through that, So for myself, I'm like, man, I really pushed people away, so I'm just walking you through a thought process. I can tell myself, man, I really pushed people away. I didn't have great friendships. This is my first time ever in my life having good friends. And yeah, I can identify, okay, well, those choices that I got me through it. And that's what worked for me in the past. But now I can identify that doesn't work for me anyway, to close myself off and to be aloof and secluded. It doesn't work for me anymore. So what's going to work for me now is something different. But I have the power to choose differently. And so I don't have to beat myself up for making different choices in my past. But that doesn't mean that because I had this past experience that I'm going to duplicate it in the future, because I have the power. I get to choose. I get to do something different. And this quote down here at the bottom from George Eliot, I love this. It says, "It's never too late to be who you might have been." And here's the thing. I'm going to bring up my faith. I don't think God makes mistakes. Each one of you guys are here for a reason. You were drawn to this business for a reason. There is somebody here in the world who needs you and who needs you to share what you're doing and share what you've learned, because you are an expert for somebody else. Even these people who are like, oh, I don't have this great story, or I've only lost 5 pounds. Even if you've only made the decision to change your life, you are an expert for the person who still is not sure that they're ready to make that choice, okay? I guess so many people would think, I have to be perfect, I have to be able to share this amazing transformation with people before they're willing to listen to me, and that's not the truth, okay? The truth is, even if you've made the choice that I'm going to be a Beachbody coach, and I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to change my life, the person who is still wanting to make that choice, but they haven't even made that choice yet, you can share with them what you have done to get to the place where you can make that decision. You have figured something out that they haven't figured out. You have value to add. You have a story to share that nobody else can share. You're the only person in the world who is just like you, who has had your experiences, your unique combination of gifts and skills. You are uniquely made, and you have something to offer. And so I want you to understand that all of the experiences you have had up to this point have prepared you for this moment to serve and to share your light with other people, because people need you, all right? And so there's nothing for you to hold back on, because there's nothing to fear, because you've been perfectly prepared for this moment to succeed. And you are going to learn through this experience. You're going to add value, but it's time for you to act, okay? I just want to read these 3 little simple rules that I kind of have in the middle here. It says, if you do not go after what you want, you'll never have it. If you do not ask, the answer will always be no. If you do not step forward, you will always be in the same place. Again, I know you guys are a unique crowd because you're a Beachbody coach and you're on this webinar, which shows me that you want to grow. You got on this webinar thinking, I want this year to be better than the year before. And so I'm telling you, you get to step into the thing that you're most afraid of, because that's where the greatest opportunity for growth will happen. Okay? And that leads to, well, okay, I gotta read this quote too. That there's only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve, and that's the fear of failure. And again, that's from the Alchemist. But all of this leads to my tip number 3. And I'm gonna share what that is as I share this experience of what I've been learning as I've been going through flight school. So, this little plane here, this is a Piper Archer plane, and these are the kind of planes that I'm learning how to fly. Some of you guys have probably heard of Cessna planes, and like Cessna planes are, I guess, really easy to make mistakes, and they're very forgiving. And so Archer planes are harder to learn, and they are more finicky. And so typically you learn how to fly in this plane so that you can hone your skills, and then it's not so forgiving, if that makes sense. So I signed up for flight lessons, and I had no idea what I was doing. I'm not the person who knew all of the different parts of a plane before I signed up. I hadn't been obsessed with with planes before I did this. And so I got into this being I don't even know what the parts of the plane are. What is the back little thing that sticks up from the back of the plane? I don't know. I'm thinking I have no clue where I'm starting at, but they're going to teach me. So I signed up and came to my first lesson. And guess what he had me do on my first lesson? He had me get in the plane and fly. We didn't sit at a desk and talk about it. We didn't sit and look at a diagram of the plane and have him point out the different controls and what they do and the aerodynamics of how to fly this plane. He put me thousands of feet in the air, going hundreds of miles per hour, and made me control that plane. My very first lesson. That's how you learn. You learn by jumping in and flying. And that's how you guys are going to figure it out. You get to take action. That is my tip number 3. I see far too many coaches who think they have to have all of the answers before they do anything in this business. Knock it off. You've got to stop, because that is not working for you. If that doesn't work in learning how to fly a plane when my life is on the line, because if I make a mistake, I'm dead, it's not going to work for you in this business, okay? And if I can do that in a plane and get behind a plane and figure it out as I go, you can send a freaking message to someone and figure it out as you go, all right? Okay? So here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to focus on the things that are most important, that are going to give you the greatest growth in your business right now. So if you're getting started, I want you to focus on these few and simple things right now. I want you to post every single day. Every single day you're going to post something, all right? Now, you're a Beachbody coach. You're doing a fitness program every single day. You should be posting about your fitness program. You get to be focusing on adding value. You get to be sharing your story, sharing the things that you're thinking about. What are you afraid of? What are you excited about? What do you love? What are the random pieces of information that you can share with people so that they feel connected to you? All right? You get to engage with people on their page. Go to other people's page and show interest in them. So many people are like, how come no one's showing interest in me? I'm sitting here in this room and nobody's coming up to talk to me. Yes, nobody likes me. It doesn't work that way, guys. It just doesn't work that way. For you to have people show interest in you, you get to show an interest in other people. You get to go and engage with them. When you walk into a room, you go up to somebody and say, hey, how are you doing? My name is Brigitte. What's your name? Reach out to other people. Stop waiting for people to come to you, okay? The third thing is you get to find excuses to send somebody a private message, all right? Now, if you're sitting there thinking, I'm going to make a post on Facebook and I'm going to have my inbox flood with messages. Let me tell you something. People are intimidated to message you. They just are, because you're awesome. And they're like, you again have figured something out that they haven't, and they don't want to look stupid by asking you, hey, how did you make that choice to actually get started on P90X? I thought about it, and I'm scared to start. How did you even get to the place where you were ready to start? They feel stupid asking you a question. Guess what's going to help? Is if you had sent them a private message, even just a week earlier, and told them, hey, I saw you guys went to Disneyland. That looks really awesome. Can you tell me what your favorite restaurants were there? I'm thinking of going someday. Or just a private message that's like, okay, I love your family photos. I can see that you guys just got professional pictures sent, and they look really cute. They turned out well. Just a random private message that's sincere, but maybe it's something that you could have left as a comment. Send it as a private message. That's more engaging, that's more personal, and it makes that person feel like, you know what? I can talk to you one-on-one. Like, it wouldn't be weird if I were to send you a message because I saw you posting about a challenge group and I wanted to engage with you. It's not awkward now because you opened the door first, okay? So send private messages, just engaging with people. And I'm going to tell you a tip with this. I think there's a lot of people who think, when we talk about this, that you have to be, like, talking to people for, like, weeks and weeks and days and just carrying on this random conversation. Don't do that. It's awkward. It feels awkward because it is, So a lot of people think, I just need to carry on this conversation, but I'm running out of things to talk about, and Beachbody's just not coming up in the conversation. I'm going to tell you, I don't do that. Like, when I'm sending a private message to someone, I want to be sincere. I want them to know, like, I genuinely care about them, and I'm genuinely thinking about that person. I am never, ever, ever, ever in these doing a copy and paste message. Never. Because you can always tell, but I'm sending it in such a personal way that there's no way I possibly could copy and paste it because it's so personalized for that person, okay? But with this, I'm also trying to get out of the conversation as quickly as possible, okay? So, if I'm sending, for example, a private message to someone who I just sent a friend request to, and we just happen to have all these mutual friends, or we had 3 mutual friends, and I'm trying to expand my network, I send someone a private message. My message looks like, hey, I saw we're both friends with Stephanie. I went to college with her. How do you know her? And then they may respond, and then I say, oh, that's so cool. What a small world. Well, I'm glad that we get to be Facebook friends now. I'm sure I'll see you around Facebook. End of conversation. It's over. Like, I don't try to be like, oh, so are you a parent? Are you a kid? And this and that. I'm not trying to do that all in one message, because I know the next day, if I see them make a post, I'm going to comment on it. Or I'm going to send them a private message and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize you have kids. I just saw you post 2 pictures of your toddlers. I have little kids too. They're such a handful, huh? Like, I wanted to feel natural. Like, and I'm not going to just go to somebody and ask them their whole life story within 5 minutes of meeting them. Like, that's awkward, okay? So keep it short, keep it sweet. One of my favorite phrases is just, great, I'll see you around Facebook, and then I end the conversation, but then I'll start it again, maybe in a couple days, or, just engaging on their page, all right? But leads kind of to the same thing, is to add people to your page constantly. Guys, in April, that will be my 4-year anniversary. I still am doing this, every single day, even with, coming back from 2 weeks in the hospital, and I've got my little to-do list. Let me show you guys from yesterday. Maybe you guys can see this. Maybe you can't. Okay, so here's my to-do list for today. And maybe you can see that, but first thing I said I wanted to respond to 5 old texts, so I've got that on there. And then the very next thing is 10 friend requests. That's like the very top of my to-do list, all right? Even still, yes, and I make a to-do list every single day. I write out what I want to do because I never get on Facebook without a plan. Like, I know exactly what I'm doing when I get on here. I'm not scrolling Facebook. I know the first thing I need to do I send my old respond to 5 texts, do my friend requests, send my thank you cards, and then I have a post idea that I want to do. Anyways, I have this to-do list, but I make sure that even still, 4 years later, I am making sure that I add people to my social media network. And I'm messaging those people. I'm not just sending them a friend request and like hoping that they randomly message me. You know, I'm taking control of the results I get in my business, okay? Now, the 5th thing here is the, sorry, let me read the messages. Okay, great. Making sure no one's asking questions. Okay, the other thing is you just get to put together a group. Again, this is one of those things that I feel like people feel they need to know everything about Beachbody because heaven forbid somebody asks them a question that they don't know and they need to know everything before they run a group. And that's not the case, okay? You guys can run a group. You guys can put together a group. You have all of the resources that you need to put together a group. And you don't have to understand the compensation plan. You don't have to understand rank advancements. You don't have to understand all of the policies and procedures to run a Facebook group. You can figure it out. I didn't even know the parts of the plane and what they're called when I got in that plane and stood behind the wheel and controlled it, okay? He even made me take off and land the plane. You guys can put together a group if I can do that, okay? And then you're going to invite people to that group. And this is both publicly and privately. When somebody tells me that they're not wanting to send private messages to somebody, I am going to be more and more blunt, but here's the honest truth. You're wasting your time. Obviously, your heart is not in it. You don't care enough about your goals or enough about somebody else reaching their goals. You are more held up and you care more about what people think of you and you care more about fear than you care about reaching your goals. So you're wasting your time. So you probably should just quit and stop wasting your time and stop wasting the time of your sponsor. Because if you're not going to send a private message to somebody, you're never going to reach your goals. And I'm just going to be blunt and tell you that's the honest truth. You get to send public messages and private messages. And your private messages can be the engaging with people and then following up with people and sending that out. But it's 2 parts. And so just know this is the activity that it takes to reach your goals. You know, it's kind of like me saying, well, I really want to learn how to fly a plane and I want to get there and I want to do it, but I really am too scared to land the plane. Like, that's scary. To put the plane in the air down on the ground is really, really scary. And I'll tell you guys, it's still scary for me, and I've done it like 7 times now. And but it's the same thing in this business. Like, how can you close the deal? How can you actually invite somebody if you just constantly put it out there and you just think the plane is somehow magically going to get on the ground, but I'm not going to close the deal. I'm not going to invite people. I'm not going to ask anybody to take action. You're wasting your time. If I didn't have the courage to land that plane, I would not get the plane up in the air. And it's the same thing for you guys. If you don't have the gumption to do that, you're wasting your time, okay? So anyways, I just had to put that out there. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you guys know about some of these resources here. So as far as the last couple steps that I shared with you guys in sending messages, sending invites, and putting together some groups, there's a files tab in the Team Forward Fitness page. If you're not in this page, you're in a different page with your upline sponsor, there's a files tab in there too. And there's amazing information and great tools and information for you guys. A certain couple of files that I want to make sure that you guys are aware of. When it comes to inviting people to challenge groups, these are the files, documents that I would go and read. One of them is how I invite prospects to a challenge group. Another one is called Dealing with Objections, and it talks about like the whole invitation process, but it's just labeled that way. I know people are fearful of somebody biting off their head if they ask them if like they want to be a part of something awesome and amazing and great, and they think they're going to be mad, but I know people are afraid of objections. I have put together like a lot of fake scenarios, I guess, of what people may say and how I respond to it. So take advantage of that. Look through it. And then there's also the 5-step invitation process. I am amazed so many times when coaches are like, well, I've been doing this, and it's not working for me. And I decided to just go back to the 5-step invitation process, and they're like, and it works. And it just is always a little surprising, I think, to people, but it does, okay? It keeps it simple. I do think it works best to use your own words and your own like vocabulary because people understand how you talk. But those tools are there for you to look through it so you can kind of get an idea of, oh, this is the flow of the conversation. Like, this is what to expect. This is how it's going to look, okay? When it comes to regarding coach invites, like inviting someone to be a part of your team, two great documents for you. How to find business building coaches. That is a really long document. That is like the mecca of coach invites. Okay, definitely check that out. And then another coach, Jennifer, just put together a script for how she helps discount coaches sign up into her team. So there's a coach upgrade script in there. And then I want you guys to know as well that like when it comes to running a group, you have all of the tools necessary to do so, okay? So everything is there. Like you can make it your own, you can do what you want, you can make it look the way you want to, but you also can just copy and paste what I'm doing. I'm totally okay with that. I give you permission, all right? And I've put together all of the posts that I use. I think it's a great idea if you are just starting off as a coach to run a clean eating challenge group first off and get in the habit of running a group. Get in the habit of working with people and following up with them and being the coach figure and getting your name out there. Like I think that that's a great starting place for new coaches. Run a clean eating challenge group and do it for a maximum of 10 days. Do not do a 60-day clean eating challenge group, okay? It's not going to work for you. But do like 5 to 10 days is great. And just do a clean eating group. Give them the option that they can experience Shakeology if they want to, but they don't have to. And then just know that there's a document called Clean Eating Challenge Group Box. And in there, I've got the post for a 10-day group. I've got the post for a 5-day group. And there's even like this really snazzy workbook in there that shows recipes that you can post in there. You can claim it as your own. Tell people you put it together. I don't really care. You can claim it as your own. I'm here to give you the resources, and I want you to succeed. So use them, okay? Also know that there are a lot of post schedules that have been put together for challenge groups. So I gathered a bunch of them together in this document that's called a challenge group box, okay? So there's a ton of posting ideas in there. You can run a 4-week long group, a 21-day long group, a 60-day, a 90-day. You can do whatever you want to. It's truly up to you. There's been 2 new additions recently added on our team. One is a 5-week long group that I'm doing now. It's kind of based on like some posts and things that I learned from Tony Robbins in this seminar that I went to. And then Larissa Zuzula put together a 30-day challenge group format that is just super fun. And I'll tell you guys, I'm actually using that one right now for one of my ongoing groups, and I love it. It has like a little music fix and video that they watch every day and a motivational quote. It's really good. She did an amazing job with it. So you guys have great resources here that you can use to run a group. There's really no excuse, okay? But I just want to make sure you guys take advantage of those resources. Okay, so tip number 4. Now, I'll tell you guys, I really kind of wanted to have 5 tips because I like the number 5. But I really also felt this is simple. Like getting started this year and what things you need to focus on, I wanted to keep it simple. I want you guys to identify that you have goals. I want you to write down your goals. Be specific in them. I want you to identify what has held you back up to this point from reaching your goals so you can create an action plan around it and identify the things that motivate you. And then you can identify what action steps are most effective and most efficient for me to grow and move forward and focus on those. So take action, don't focus on learning. And then the tip number 4 that I want you guys to focus on is I want you as an individual to model success behaviors. So what does that really mean? Well, this means that you get to experience what you're telling other people to do. Experience and share that journey that you want others to duplicate so that they can see success in their life. I have found through the last 4 years that people are really great at giving advice. Living that advice and following that advice is a little bit harder. So if you feel that for yourself, know that you're not alone. Other people feel the same way. But that's what's holding you back. I'll be honest. Like, you get to be authentically the experience and the model of what you want other people to duplicate. And I just want to ask you, like, you know, it's one thing to like do it yourself, but do people know about it? You know, this was one of the like big aha moments for me as I was evaluating my results that I got in 2015 and why I hit some goals, why I didn't hit other goals. But I had to ask myself, like, is it obvious to other people what I'm doing to see success so that they can duplicate the same things in their life? And I had to say no, like I wasn't doing that. And so this is a big thing that I personally am focusing on. But you can ask yourself the same questions by simply looking back at your last social media post. Look at the last 8 to 10 posts. And I want you to ask yourself, is it obvious that you are following a workout program that is duplicatable for somebody else to do? Are you doing T25 one day, and then hammer and chisel another day, and then running 5 miles on Wednesday, and Thursday going to a yoga class, and then Friday doing this? If you're doing that, it's really hard for other people to feel like, oh, look at Mindy and what she's doing. I could do that too. People are not going to think that. They just aren't. And so it's hard for other people to see that success duplicated in their life if you're not modeling a behavior that is duplicatable, okay? But is it obvious? Is it obvious that if someone were to come to your page and look at the last 8 to 10 posts that they would know what fitness program you're doing and what day you're on? Is that obvious to them, okay? Is it obvious that you are a coach? Have you been brave in just telling people that? Like, it's funny to me, like, how many people, like, shy away from that, and then they wonder why nobody's joining them as a coach, or why somebody went and ordered on Amazon, or why somebody, like, went on Craigslist and got something. It's like, well, have you really made it obvious what you're doing, you know? I'll be honest, like, at the beginning when I first signed up as a coach, I had a ton of people who were ordering from Amazon. I had a ton of people who were, like, just getting it from other resources that I, like, had talked to them about Beachbody, and I'm like, what do they, like, what's going on? Like, I don't understand it. And then I had to realize that, again, I'm in charge of the results that I'm getting in my life, and I get to make adjustments. And this is a result of me not being brave in the fact that, hey, I run in challenge groups. You can get this product from me because guess what? I'm a coach, okay? If you're not obvious about what you're doing and obvious about your goals, people are going to go to somebody else, all right? Now, the other thing is it obvious that you have a coach training group, that you have tools that you are willing to give other people so that they can, again, be a coach like you? Or are you thinking, I'm just going to run challenge groups and then I'll talk to people in my challenge groups about coaching? If that is your attitude, you're missing out. I'm just going to say that. You're missing the boat because people know about coaching. They know about this already. They already know that you can be a coach, that you can earn money. I mean, all of the fitness programs now talk about it. They talk about you can be a coach. And so if you're not putting it out there that, guess what, guys? I have seen a certain level of success, and I am willing to show you what I've done to reach this success, and I have access to all of these tools and information that you get to use as well. You get to share that. If you are not telling people that you have a training that they can be a part of, that you're not talking about coaching, and that you're not adding coaches to your team at this time, it's not like people are not going to talk to you about coaching. You're not gonna find business building coaches, and then you're gonna wonder, well, I can fill my challenge groups really, really well, but I don't know why I don't have anyone on my team who advances to diamond. You just have a bunch of discount coaches, like, or whatever, okay? And that's why. The other thing I want you guys to ask yourself is to make sure that you're adding value. Going back through your page, ask yourself, am I annoying? Am I adding value? Am I creating content that is something that people would want to seek out? And if I was a stranger following my page, would I want to type in my name every single day just to find out what I'm doing? I know that kind of was twisted around, but hopefully you followed. Because I'll tell you, there are some coaches that I feel like, every single day they add so much value. I love hearing what they have to say, and it's inspiring and it makes me think, and I'm just inspired by their journey. That quite honestly, every single day on Facebook, I type in their name so that I can seek out the words that they're saying and seeking out what they have to say. And then there's other coaches where it's like, if I don't go to their page for 5 days, I quite honestly know I'm not missing much, because I don't feel that they're adding value. I don't feel that they're adding original value, because they're not sharing their story. They're not doing anything. They're just saying just random fluff. And I'll tell you, that's not going to bring you success, okay? And here's the thing. When it comes to coaching, when it comes to, your challenge groups, it's so easy to tell someone, okay, if you're not seeing success with your fitness journey, keep a food diary. Write down what you're eating. Write down what you're doing. If you're not seeing success as a coach, same thing. Write down your activities, because your results are a direct reflection of the activity that you're giving every single day. So write down your activity. Write down the choices that you're making and what you're doing every single day. That's what the business activity tracker is, right? So are you using the business activity tracker? Those are the tips and those are the advice that you give to your coaches. But ask yourself, are you doing the same thing? Are you following a fitness program? Are you drinking your shake every single day? Are you eating clean? Are you making those good choices? Are you reading your personal development every single day? Or are you just scrolling Pinterest to read a couple motivational quotes and calling it good? Are you keeping track of your business activity tracker? Are you sending out invites and reaching out to people, or just waiting for people to come to you? Are you doing all the things that you really know that you should be doing, that you would advise somebody else to do to grow their business and to see success in their fitness and in their journey? Are you doing those things yourself? Okay? So that's the main thing. And I feel like this quote just kind of wraps it up a lot, and I really like this. Again, from The Alchemist. But it says, when we love, we always strive to become better than we are. When we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. And I feel like that is what this whole journey is all about. You're on this call because you feel like, I want to be better. I want to identify what action steps I can take to grow this year and to be a better person. And I just want you to stay focused on being better yourself, right? Identifying that this is your journey. You get to do the things that that work for you. Do the things that you know are going to help you be happier. Know what you want out of this year. Write it down. Identify what's holding you back and take action. And when you do those things, you better yourself, and in the process, you inspire other people, and you become someone who can show other people how they can be better too. And really, that's a simple thing. But that simplistic advice is what's going to bring success this year. So keep it simple. Keep it very basic, focusing on those things. Identify your goals, writing them out if you haven't yet. Post your dream boards, post your goals. Identify what you can do to work past the bad habits that you have or whatever. Take action steps, focusing on the small and simple things. And then make sure that you are being that authentic example for other people that they can duplicate to see success. And quite honestly, that's my advice. Those are my tips. If you guys have any questions, I'll be in the team page. You can post questions in there. But I just want to honor you and thank you for being on this call. It shows your commitment and your level of dedication. And so I applaud you. But thanks for being on this call, and I will see you guys in the team page.